long term, like what else could I spend this money on? And for me, it's Jackson's school, and we need to extend the fence in the backyard, and I want to do this to the house.
You can always find a need somewhere to spend money.
As opposed to a one-day, 4-hour party.
Yeah. And I want to invest, and I don't want to be stranded in retirement where I'm like, why didn't I do this?
Well, I've seen some people, they say, well, we want to do a good honeymoon too, but we only have a certain amount of money for the whole wedding. So let's take a little bit away from the wedding and have a really nice honeymoon. Because the honeymoon is more important than anything. The people coming to the wedding are just coming to eat free and drink free.
Amen.
You know that. That's the only reason I go to weddings.
So once you're actually married,
I'll remember that.
Little personal dig here, but once you're married, are you going to blend your accounts, or are you keeping your own bank accounts?
So this is a loaded question because he technically has all of his stuff in Texas, and I have all of my stuff in North Carolina. So it's not something we've figured out yet. And so we'll have to get with Coach and talk about the benefits, the pros and the cons.
You know, the first thing you need is a trust.
Okay.
Because you're a blended family with a child. The trust is the most important thing. Not a will, but a trust. Because you don't want to end up like Cinderella. You don't want Jackson turning, like if you pass away and all of a sudden he remarries and all of a sudden Jackson's treated like Cinderella. So you establish a trust.
Amanda's getting a trust today.
I'm getting a trust right now.
We do those trusts, and we have an attorney organization that we utilize to do the trust. But they are a lot more affordable if you do it through us than if you go see an attorney.
Truly interesting.
So
that's such a good one.
We're talking about 60% less.
And there's tax advantages to having the trust, right?
Well, sometimes there's tax advantages. It's more of a peace of mind. A trust speaks for you even if you're not here anymore. That's what a trust does. A trust is a way to bypass probate. A will is an invitation to probate. Guess how much probate costs? Between 3 and 7% of whatever you have in your estate is lost in probate, plus probate is not private. Trusts are totally private. So that's why trust makes so much more sense. And so, but especially if you have a blended family, especially if you're getting married, everybody really needs some kind of trust or will, but everybody needs that little green book of life. So you can come in and if you come in to see me, I'll give you a copy, but you can buy it on Amazon as well.
The more you know with Coach Pete, you got to have that trust.
Really is. Trust is important in life in more ways than one.
So I'm going to pin you down on this one too. Do you recommend, we have a newlywed coming in, we won't use each other, but do you want her to keep her own separate finances, or do you recommend a blended household?
All right, here's something that causes a lot of divorces. Joint checking accounts. Joint checking accounts cause more divorces than anything.
Really?
They do.
Joint checking accounts. So I like a joint account to pay the bills, like the mortgage and the utilities, and you both put a little money in there. You establish what you're putting in there. Yeah, you both contribute. But then you both should have your own separate checking accounts. It's no fun to get a gift.
So when you say, honey, can you please buy me this? Then that's
but you don't want to buy it with a joint money, right?
No.
So what fun is it to get flowers from the money you just paid?
Jackie's like, absolutely
no.
It makes sense. But again, you have to figure out, and these conversations, unfortunately, are had after the wedding, not before.
It's true. Because people don't like to talk about money, especially women. It's an awkward, a taboo subject.
But you guys are making 47% of the money worldwide now. So it's time for you guys to be a member of the conversation.
And it's not being confrontational. It's just having the gumption to say,
get it down, because if you get it down now and no confusion and you understand it completely, then there'll be no. Well, there could be some confrontation in the future, but it won't be because of that money, right? It won't be because of that.
Maybe it should include the wedding plans, a consultation with a financial planner. The wedding plans, a consultation with a financial planner.
Let's
get this thing.
Here we go.
If he can counsel us. Right? You go to talk to your clergyman when you're talking about, right?
One course away from being a psychologist, by the way. I had 5 psychology classes too, so it's a lot of psychology.
The psychology of money.
There's a big correlation between money and psychology.
Sure,
Coach, he's the man.
Get in to see Coach Pete.
So that's segment 3. When we come back, we've got 2 more segments here to talk about, episode segment, whatever we want to talk about, but we're going to get into even more detail when we come back. Hey, I'm Coach Pete DeRuda, president of Capital Financial. Folks, the financial world is very, very confusing. That's why we put together a series of educational videos called webinars. You can see them at any time by signing up at CoachPete.com. We'll see you there. So let's talk crypto. But my average cost is a lot lower than what it is now. I never thought we'd see over 100,000.
Yeah. So I was the biggest Bitcoin non-believer there was. I mean, it's the greater fool theory. You got to find somebody dumber than you to pay more to it. That's what I thought. And then I watched, I might have been Michael Saylor on CNBC.
It was really good.
Lay out a believable case to a total non-believer like me that Bitcoin could hit $1 million someday. And he said, all we're recommending is that our clients put 1% of their portfolio in Bitcoin, because if it goes to 0, that won't hurt you. If it goes to $1 million, you're gonna be happy you did it. Well, that resonated with me. And so I put 1% of my portfolio back when Bitcoin was 2,000 a Bitcoin.
Oh, there you go.
And that is now worth well over 7 figures.
Good for you, Tom.
You know, and so I just took 1%, and so that was just a little risk with a major. I've never had anything go up as much as that has gone up.
Just make sure you have it in a good place, and someone can't come and steal it from you. Yeah, that's the only thing to hear about this.
So I know that.
And welcome into the next episode of Tax Savvy Retirement. The series. I'm Thomas Lipscomb here alongside the author, Coach Pete D'Arruda. If you don't know who he is, turn on your radio, your TV, walk through the airport. He's all over the place, folks. But today, you're gracing me with your time here in the studio. I'm excited because this is a really awesome resource. I love what you've put into this book, Coach. And we're going to be talking withdrawal strategies specifically for tax optimization. And I just want to throw out a term here that I think a lot of our viewers are going to know. That's the 4% rule. You'll see this written about on CNBC or Fox Business, wherever you're looking. Could you kind of explain what that is and what your view on that is?
Yeah, it was put in by Wall Street a long time ago. It says as long as you only take 4% of your stock account out, you have about a 92% chance of not outliving your money.
Okay.
All right, 92% chance of being okay. You know what I don't like? You've got an 8% chance of being in trouble.
Yeah.
I don't design any plan unless it has a 100% chance of you not being in trouble.
That's good. Yeah.
So I've always held my nose when someone comes in and says, well, my broker says I'll be fine. I say, yeah, you got about a 92% chance of being fine. What if you're in that 8% where you don't? If you got on a plane and the pilot came on the loudspeaker and said, folks, we've got about a 92% chance of landing safely today, who do you think is going to be the first person off that plane?
I'll be right behind you. How about that?
Yeah, you'll be able to do it. But, all right, so, and then they've done some studies and they said, really, you can't call it the 4% rule because a lot of people have run out of money. When the market goes down, you're taking money out. It could be even worse than a 8% chance of not outliving your money. So then they revised it and they called it the 2.8% rule.
Is that what it was?
So if you got $1 million, you can take $28,000 out a year and you got a 92% chance.
Imagine working your whole life saving up that $1 million nest egg.
Even 4% rule is only $40,000.
Yeah.
So the strategies we employ give you about 40 to 60% more with a 100% chance of not outliving your money.
I love it. That's so
lifetime income planning. So instead of getting $40,000, you get $60,000, and you got a 100% chance of never having a problem.
See, you take the worry out and you get more.
Taking the worry out of living in retirement.
That's a great.
One thing you don't want to be worried about in retirement is where the money's going to come from. You worked all your life to put this money away. Don't have someone take it away from you or outspend it. And so you can try to do it yourself, folks, but the do-it-yourselfer model never works. And a lot of times we're going to have the first 10 years or 20 years of retirement. That's when we're going to be in the go-go years still. Yes. We can go do all the fun things. So you don't want to say, well, I don't know if I can afford it or not. And don't take vacations until you're 80 or 90, because then you might not be able to do it anymore.
That's very good.
So our planning enables you to start right away. We encourage you every year to go take a vacation, spend that money, because if not, you're going to build a bunch of money up. You're going to leave your kids. And guess what? They're going to take vacations. You take your vacation. So we make you take vacations. That's the way my planner's mean. He makes me go on vacations. Yeah. But again, it's all about understanding the taxes in there and making sure you understand the withdrawal strategies. And we can put together a total income plan for you that has 100% certainty of never having problems. All you have to do is call the number you see on the screen. There's no cost or obligation for this. We offer it every single week on our radio show. You can get it now, and I really think it makes sense, especially after reading this book. You know that you need to be in control, and we can put you in control.
You absolutely can. Folks, call Coach Pete and his fiduciary team at Capital Financial today. I love it. You said the word twice there, Coach, understanding. Yeah. It's so key, folks. Gain that understanding in your retirement plan. It'll lead to confidence, security. Call now, and we will be back with you shortly for the next chapter, Chapter 4.
This big game, every move counts. Plan wisely to win the match. Sidestep the unexpected and charge towards your goal. Navigate through the challenges. Retirement is your end zone, and the touchdown is within reach. A successful retirement is your championship. Let Coach Pete design your customized income game plan today.
So how do you handle this wealth transfer?
Yeah, it's tough because that's where the fights start.
Yeah.
I mean, the most friendliest families ever aren't friendly anymore when mom or dad passes away, or when the second of the two passes away, especially. Do it ahead of time. Again, it comes back to the little green book of life. As the person, you can write in here who you want to get things, and then why, and then they also do a trust or will to back this up. I like trust better than will because the trust is pretty concrete, and a will's an invitation to probate, and a trust is a bypass probate. But this is what you do. You fill this out, then you bring this into an attorney, or go online and do your own trust. We've got a program that does it a lot cheaper than attorneys do, and then they have attorneys behind the scenes. But this little green book of life is step one. Put your desires down and make sure people don't fight, because we don't have pyramids anymore, Tom. They don't bury you with all your goods.
Welcome back into the next episode of Tax Savvy Retirement. I'm Thomas Lipscomb alongside best-selling author Coach Pete D'Arruda. We are covering Chapter 4 today. It is Tax Bracket Management Strategies. This sounds interesting to me. One thing I do know is there are tax brackets, and you don't necessarily want to creep too far into those. Is it hard to do, though, in retirement because you've got RMDs and all these different things that are,
One of the things that people get worried about is they say, gosh, I don't want to be in a higher tax bracket in retirement.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. That means you're making a lot of money.
Okay.
And so here's what you shouldn't worry about. Now, we have these tax brackets. You make a certain amount of money, you pay 15% tax. We'll say you make a little more, you pay 22%. Mm-hmm. Make even more, 28%. But it's only on the excess. Yeah. So let's say, Coach, I can't make over $50,000 because I don't want to go into this 22% tax bracket. So, well, if you make $51,000, only $1,000 of that, only $1,000 of the $51,000 is going to be in the higher tax bracket.
There you go.
Because you pay the lower tax until you get to the higher level. So a lot of people think that once you reach a higher bracket, it retroactively goes back and taxes you the big amount from $1.
Right.
That's false. And so the first thing I always tell people is stop worrying. It's not as bad as we think it is sometimes, but it's still bad. But there are some ways. Let's say you have a great stock and it's done really well, and so you have a big gain. So you're going to have capital gains tax on that when you take it out. Long term, which is good. You want long-term capital gains tax, not short-term. Short-term's a lot more. Yes. It's whatever income tax rate you're at. Long-term is 15 or 20%, a lot better deal.
Okay.
So you say, well, Coach, this is going to put me into a higher tax bracket. I do not want to be in that higher tax bracket. I heard you, Coach. I heard you say I'm only going to have to pay the taxes on the excess, but I don't even want to do that. Now, so let's look through your stock portfolio. I'm pretty sure you've had a loss or two, like a bad stock. Maybe you're down some. Why, yes, there's this penny stock that my broker told me about, and I've lost $10,000 in there. Oh. So you sell that, you take a $10,000 loss and go against the $10,000 gain you just made, you equal that out. Now you're still in the low tax bracket.
I like that.
So there's a lot of creative ways. And so don't despair, but get a planner who's been there before and understands the tools and techniques to help you look ahead in the tax code to protect your behind from the tax man.
Very important
so
to
we
do.
do that. It's fun, folks. It's fun. When we turn the tables on the tax man, it gets really fun, Thomas, because it's a lot of fun to tell the tax man, well, I know you're not getting more tax this year from me. Matter of fact, you're going to give me money back or something like that.
I love it.
So it's about using what's available to you to put you in control. It's called tax arbitrage, and we do that every single day. 100% legal, using the rules as they exist to put you ahead of the game.
Fantastic. Folks, contact Coach Pete's team at Capital Financial today. Starts with a 22-step process. All of this is behind the scenes for you. We try to make it easy.
And there's no cost.
No, there's no, which, by the way, is such an incredible, even you offer this even as a second opinion review. And the power behind
Get a second opinion first, and then we'll tell you if you really need to get a new plan. Many times we say, hey, everything you're doing is fine. That gives you that peace of mind. We're not here to sell something. We're here to make sure you're in control.
That right there is the power of fiduciary, folks. Connect with his fiduciary team now. You see the information on your screen, how you can connect with us. Start it. Knowledge is power. I think that came from Schoolhouse Rock, right?
Yeah, it did.
Knowledge is power, and we will see you on the next chapter.
Half the money's going somewhere else. We see a lot of, unfortunately, they call them silver divorces. And a lot of people get it. Like
in retirement, yeah.
You go from working, so when you're working 40 hours a week, you really hardly ever see your spouse. You see them in the morning maybe,
Yeah.
and you see them at night for maybe dinner, a late dinner, a kiss, a good night, and then the same thing. Then on the weekends, you're doing yard work or you're hanging out with friends or maybe you're not spending much time together. And then you get excused from work, or you either retire or you get let go, and now you're at home 40 hours and your spouse is there too. Maybe you see too much of each other.
Oh,
you go
dear.
from not seeing each other at all. Well, let's even rewind even further. You go from dating all the time and loving each other to getting married and then getting jobs and then not seeing each other hardly at all for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And now all of a sudden you're seeing each other full time again. It's a new person.
It is, because you
Yeah.
change.
You
as
change.
you age.
We all change. I mean, look, even our world changes because we have 7 continents now, and it used to be one big piece of land.
Yeah,
And they're
right.
constantly separating
Yeah.
from each other, aren't they, Jana? And so we all are. There's gravitational pull pulling us
that.
different ways. And so compromise it gets more and more valuable and important as we get further into marriage.
And if you can't change together, if you can't, grow, then all of a sudden you are facing that separation or divorce. But even further than that, what if your spouse is hiding stuff from you, debt that you don't know about?
That happens a lot.
And it looms over you when they pass away, and you're like, how am I going to support
Yeah.
the household? How am I going to do all this?
Well, even if they haven't passed away yet, maybe you wish they did. Sometimes you start getting these collector mail all the time, like you owe this, or
That's a
calls
whole
at
nother
night.
episode.
Back in the day when we had one phone at home. Remember one phone at home was on
Yes,
the wall?
on the wall.
And the debt collector would call. Well, if the debt collector was calling then, you could hear it because you could hear the conversation. Now we got these little cell phone things, and nobody really knows what's going on in here. We have our own private worlds. I mean, everybody has their own private world now. And so it makes it a whole lot easier to cheat if you want to, I guess, doesn't
I
it?
suppose. Yeah.
And so, and it makes it a whole lot easier to cheat, meaning spend
With
a lot of
money,
money.
yes.
Yeah, and so when debt collectors are calling you on your phone, here they're not calling it a hallway phone anymore. My dad used to. We weren't allowed to talk to girls when I was growing up because Dad was a college professor. He said girls were almost like Bobby Boucher would say, the devil.
Oh my gosh!
And so Dad would get mad at us, because he said, you should be studying. That's what he always
funny.
say. So we had one phone, and so we had to make the conversations very short. And to this day, I don't like talking on the phone because I never really talked on the phone.
Yeah. Do you recommend prenup?
I recommend having a conversation about it.
Okay.
Okay, because that's something that, yes, financially makes a whole lot of sense. Emotionally, it's that's a minefield.
It could be. It could really separate you
Mm-hmm.
initially, like even before the wedding happens. If I want to get a prenup, but
What have you been thinking about this?
well, I was married before.
Yep.
So
Who hasn't been these days?
Yeah.
Jana's only married.
Still working on my first marriage.
and he had a lot of Bitcoin that I didn't know about.
Wow.
And he was actually buying a lot of Bitcoin with our money, joint money. So I'm like, what? It was shocking to me to know about that when we got divorced. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, have the hard conversations now.
Yeah.
Because then you find out, hey, are you compatible or not? Because if you're not willing to go through the hard conversation just to sit down face to face, if you're not grown up enough for that, then red flag.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the red flag.
The
for
Bitcoin's
me,
interesting. I
guess.
assume they found that on the forensic accounting
They did.
dive into there. Yeah, saying,
They
where did
did.
this money go?
Uh-huh.
Because
Yeah.
he thought he was being all sneaky, wasn't he?
Yeah. Well,
Did you get half the Bitcoin?
I don't want to say exactly, but we had a lot of money in our real estate too. Nashville was up like a crazy amount, so that was nice. But I just didn't know the depths of all of it. And the forensic accounting is expensive.
Yeah,
you don't
they make
know
some
how
money
much
now.
that is. So know that. Know before you get married. And I don't know if I want to get a prenup. I feel like I trust Ryan 100%. But if you get married without a prenup, is what you have before you get married yours?
Yeah, if you get married without a prenup, usually, if you're bringing it into the wedding, marriage, it should be yours. But again, I would outline it. It doesn't have to be a prenup, and I'm not an attorney, by the way.
Yeah.
But I would write down type something out saying, we're entering this marriage at this date, and before I met you, I accumulated this.
Yeah.
So I'm bringing this in, and you had this, and you're bringing this into the marriage. If we leave each other bad, so you don't need that kind of wave hitting your relationship in the future either. So you can quell the waters by getting everything done ahead of time on a piece of paper, get it signed.
Sure. As far as retirement accounts,
You can actually claim your ex-spouse's Social Security amount, and they don't know about it, and it doesn't affect theirs. So you may only get let's say $2,000 a month, but ex-spouse may get $3,800. Which one are you going to claim? Your ex-spouse's.
Wow.
So we can show you how to do that too. So these are a lot of things that people overlook. And here's one thing: the Social Security Administration will not tell you that when you go there. All their job is to make sure that you fill your paperwork out. They can't give you any advice. So we give advice before you go make that decision, Social Security wise. So that's a big one.
That's a huge one.
It's a big one.
Mm-hmm. So it's best to get in to talk to a
Get
planner.
a claiming strategy, yeah,
Yes.
anytime. I mean, I think it's good to have a financial advisor on call anyway, but I mean, once a year you should meet with your advisor and go through what changed in a year.
Sure.
Well, this is a big change when you get ready to retire, so then there's a...
You know, it's probably hell to go through one. If somebody needs to simplify things, will you do this for them?
Yeah, we break it down.
If I just say, hey, I like what you said, do
Yeah.
it. I don't have the bandwidth to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, here's what we always do. Since I've come from a family of educators, dad, college professor, mom, school teacher, I like to do it for people, but then I also like to show them how we did it, how they can do it themselves.
Nice.
Okay, and why. And always, you know, it's one thing when somebody does something, they say, well, why did they do that? They never tell you. When you go to the doctor's office, here, let me hit the knee. Why are you doing that, doc? Boom. My knee moves. And tell me why. But that's what we do. We tell you why we're doing things and why why should we take income from the regular IRA before the Roth IRA? Or why should we get life insurance because it has a long-term care rider on it? You know, life insurance is something everybody has, but a lot of people have these old policies. What does that mean? Well, the new life insurance policies let you take some of your death benefit, like let's say you have $1 million life insurance policy, a lot of people have at least $1 million. You have to go to a nursing home. You don't have nursing home insurance, but you have a life insurance policy that has a nursing home rider on it.
Nice.
These are the new policies. You can reach into your death benefit. Let's say you need $100,000 for home health care for a year. They'll give you $100,000 out of your death benefit, tax-free, and there it is. And probably you only paid way once you get it, and it doesn't have a rate increase. That's beautiful. That's really beautiful on that. So anyway, there's a lot of different things we can do, but the most important thing is, we started this talking about divorce. You're not alone, even if you are alone, don't have a spouse anymore. We're always here to help you, and so you never want to feel like you're alone. And your finances don't need to be an enemy; they need to be an ally. And we can show you how to make your finances work for you. Like we're talking about the right way to file Social Security, the right way to buy life insurance, the right way to get that retirement income put together. We can do it for you. Just call the number you see on the screen.
So the Gallup reports that 61% of Americans fear outliving their income is worse than dying early.
It is. And so I wrote about this. I've got a pocketbook series. So 6 different books like this. This is number 4. This is tactics. And one of the tactics is to make sure that you have an account set up or 2 or 3 accounts that are going to make sure to give you that financial fill-up strategy. It's one thing to ask a broker, hey, is my retirement safe? And of course, they're going to say yes, because they don't want your money to leave. If your money leaves, so does their commissions or their money under management fee. So we need to have some of our money that's isolated from financial termites, I call them. Those are unnecessary risk, fees, and commissions coming out of your accounts. And we could do that with the insurance industry, a step forward to give you lifetime guaranteed income accounts. And if you don't have one, you really need one, Tom. Welcome back into Annuity Avenue, folks. Coach Pete here. I've got Mr. Greg Berrien with me, one of my advisors. Works really hard to make sure people are happy, not only today, tomorrow, but all the way through retirement. I think you're going to see how great Greg does his job here when we talk about this hypothetical case example here. Before we tape this episode, we have an Uncle Sam hat in the office. We should bring that in here, Thomas, next time. But it's Uncle Sam hat, and inside the hat are a bunch of different age numbers, from 50 all the way to 98, believe it or not. And Greg reaches in there, and we decided we were going to do a widow this week. So just one person. Greg, what number did you draw out this week?
70 years old, Coach.
70-year-old widow. Yeah. Okay. And then we have a different hat. We reach in. Well, actually, we dump the numbers out, and then we put different numbers in the same hat. It's the same hat, but it's a different kind of draw. We have lump sums in there. So what kind of lump sum did you draw out, Greg?
Well, what we drew out was $500,000.
$500,000. All right, 70-year-old widow, $500,000. Keep in mind, the money we draw out of here is not all her money. This is the money that we say should be in a green account instead of a red account. So typically, we add another 25 or 30% to that, and that's extra money they have, and that should be in different places than this example we're showing. So, but the $500,000, Greg, needs to be in a safe place because she has no safety whatsoever.
Oh, yeah.
She's 70 years old. Out of your big piece of cheese is now got a bunch of holes in it.
Yeah.
So we need to stop the holes. We need to get rid of those financial moths. They make holes. I've never had that happen to me, but that's why people put mothballs. So we got some financial mothballs we sprinkle around, and we make sure to put this money in a safe place. So go over to the whiteboard now. Let's write down let's go through the numbers.
All right.
So in that blue box, you're going to write down the age 70.
All right, she's 70 years old.
Single lady.
Single.
And we drew $500,000 out, right?
$500,000.
So Greg, your job, if you decide to accept it today, is to show us how that $500,000 can be in a safe place and give her a lifetime income.
Guaranteed.
Do you accept that?
Coach, I accept your challenge.
Oh, yeah? All right, Greg. Now, again, this is a very valuable challenge you're taking on because a lot of folks watching probably have $500,000, probably have a lot of widows watching. We do have a lot of people watching each week. By the way, folks, if you like what you're watching, like it on the screen there on the where you can do the thumbs up, and also share with your friends because a lot of your friends probably could. Down, 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 down. Now, the chances of that happening are slim to none, but it still could, right? So we have to show you everything. So if the market went down, 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 she would not get any return whatsoever. She would get a zero, though. Now, if you had the money still in the red bucket, she would probably run out of money. She would have a zero there, too. She would have lost all her money because
Absolutely.
she would have been sharing in the gain of the market, which was a zero or negative 30 or negative 40 or negative 50. So what would she have if she put the money in here and only got zeros? What can you show us for that?
What would she get on that? Well, she would get...
And did she start taking income right away? Or when
She's going to take income right away.
Right away. All right. So
right
she
away.
put the money in and starts taking income right away.
You know what's cool about this?
What's that?
Okay. The average advisor out there, they're going to ask her to take only, what, 4% out, right?
Well, we heard about the 4% rule on Wall Street, which says that about only 92% of people are successful taking 4% of their money out. The other 8% or so people run out of money before they run out of life. Greg, is that our goal, is to have people run out of money when they're still here?
Well, I'm not going to...
No, we need to always make sure you have more than enough income, and then we need to make sure that your spouse gets that same income, and then when we pass away, we need to make sure our next of kin gets whatever's left.
And 4% is not going to help her make her income gap. Here's what this company's going to do.
Okay.
They're going to give her money at a rate of 6.65%, guaranteed the rest of her life. It's crazy.
We're talking about the zero, the first, Greg.
Right, no, they're going to give her 6.65% of the $500,000. So here's the thing, Coach. She's going to get annually, every year, for the rest of her life, $33,250. That's even if the market were to collapse for the rest of her life.
So could she ever run out of that money?
She'll never stop getting her income.
So she lives to be 130 years old because she still gets the income.
She'll keep getting that money.
All right, that's pretty neat.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's because if she had her money in the red bucket, like she does right now, before she puts the money in the green bucket, she'd lose her money. She wouldn't have any money. She would probably not have income after 5 or 6 years in the retirement.
It'd be gone.
Especially if the market's going down every single year, and that's what we're showing here. Now, we're not negative, are we?
No. Gotcha.
What if the market did something better than zero every single year, which chances are it probably will? How can we show people that? Can we go back the last 10 years and show them what the strategy did over the last 10 years, or how do you like?
What we're going to do is we're going to go on the assumption that it's going to maintain what it's done over the past 10 years.
Okay, and what was that number?
All righty. And so what's going to happen is...
Wait, in your example.
Well, I have her 95 years old.
The Grim Reaper. That's about, what, 25 years from when she started?
Yep.
What's the average life expectancy right now for a female?
Around 80 years old.
80?
78 to 80 is the average lifespan.
We're going to show her living longer.
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, she could live to be 120, 130, 140. The income would still come to her. She'd never run out of it. But, all right, this example, she passed away at age 95 after having it 25 years. How much money did she take in that 25 years?
I need a lot of ink here. $1,000,000.
That's why I had you switch pens.
$462,819.
And she started with $500,000.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And then, all right, so then she passes away. Is there any money left in her account right then when she passes away?
At the age of 95, no. There's no legacy. However, the thing is, Coach, let's say she passed away.
She didn't really need one, I guess, right, in this example.
2 years into it.
She had 3 times what she started with as far as income, basically. But she could have cut income with no risk. See, folks, that's the magic here. We're not talking about pie in the sky. See, folks, that's the magic here. We're not talking about pie in the sky. We're not talking about, hey, you got to invest in crypto or bet on the racehorse that's the underdog. No, we're saying do the safest strategy that we like out here. We're independent, so we'll go search around all the different financial institutions and insurance companies and find the best fits what you and your family are looking for. And I really like this. This would get my stamp of approval all day long, because even at the zero scenario, she's still making money. But if we have an increasing market, she's going to share in that gain, and she's going to be very happy. So, folks, if you like this example, make sure to like it here on the screen. If you want to have one customized for you and your family, which, Greg, why wouldn't somebody want to have this in writing? Folks, will show you what your own numbers would look like based on your true ages and your true money. These are hypotheticals we do here because we don't know what people have. So we take guesses by reaching in our jar, reaching in our hat, and drawing numbers out. We can do a customized example for you and your family to see where you are right now and see how soon you can retire with that income that you can't outlive. They're very, very important, isn't it, Greg?
Oh, man, completely.
So, folks, we'll see you next time right here on Annuity Avenue. Thanks, Greg.
The 4 buckets of tax classification are an important concept to consider in financial planning. These buckets help you understand how different types of income are taxed, which is crucial when planning for retirement or optimizing your investments. It's essential to understand why knowing the tax implications of each bucket matters when you're planning for retirement or making investment decisions. The tax treatment of your income can significantly affect your net returns and retirement security.
We have taxable bucket. That's paycheck bucket. You earn money, you have to pay tax on it. Then we have tax deferred. That's when you earn your paycheck and in your employer, maybe sometimes, or maybe you go down to the bank, you buy an IRA or you get a 401k with your employer, you can put the money into your account before taxes. That's where you're deferring the taxes. You're going to have to pay the taxes down the road. The big problem I have here is, yes, you get a nice little deferral. You don't have to pay tax on whatever money you put in an IRA or 401k at that time. But when you take the money out, not only do you have to pay tax on what you put into the 401k or IRA, you also have to pay tax on the gain. That's an invisible tax, and that's a tax time bomb, because we have no idea. If you have a great gain, you have a great amount of taxes. That's not fun, is it? So those are the 2 buckets here when we talk about paycheck. Then we have a tax-free bucket. That's if your employer, a lot of times, they'll offer you a Roth IRA option. So the Roth IRA, you can put the money into Roth, but you can't deduct it from your tax return. In other words, if you put $3,000 into a regular IRA, you could deduct your taxable income by $3,000. So $60,000 salary down to $57,000 salary for tax purposes. But if you put that money in a Roth, the $60,000 salary, you still owe $60,000. You still have to pay tax on $60,000. But the beauty of the Roth is now it builds and builds and builds, and when you take the money out, you don't pay tax on any of it. Not the money you put in and not the gain. So big thing. So putting money into that Roth IRA is sort of like being a farmer and you're sitting on your farm one day and you see a big IRS vehicle, one of those black SUVs, you know, the big government employees get out, 4 of them get out with their sunglasses on, look like Will Smith should be a Men in Black kind of guys. And they say, we're from the IRS. We're going to give you an offer that you have to decide today. We're going to honor it forever. We're either going to tax you on the seeds you're putting in the ground today, and we're never going to come back at harvest time. Year after year, we're not going to appear. We're never going to tax you on the harvest. Or we'll leave you alone today. Matter of fact, we'll give you a break today. We're not going to tax you on the seeds, but we're going to come back every year at harvest time, and we're going to tax you on everything you've gained from that harvest. Which choice would you do? The Roth IRA. You pay the guys one time, you pay the tax, you never have to see them again. Now, those are the 3 tax qualifications. And then we have tax-free times 2. That's utilizing the life insurance industry, who has special provisions built into the IRS code to give you tax-free income, tax-free death benefit, and in many cases, tax-free long-term care payments. That's a life insurance policy. Specialized life insurance is not, they're not all the same, folks. So if you have a current life insurance policy, get that reviewed to make sure you have that tax-free times 2 that has those 3 main benefits: tax-free income, tax-free death, but most importantly, tax-free long-term care. You can use some of your death benefit. Let's say you have a $1 million policy and you have to go to a nursing home. You need $80,000. You call the life insurance company, say, I'd like to take $80,000 out of my $1 million death benefit. Please send it to me. Don't tax it because it's tax-free, and I'm going to use that to pay for my nursing home. Folks, you don't need a long-term care policy anymore if you have these specialized tax-free times 2 accounts. Learn about it, if nothing else.
You and your financial advisor should be exploring how diversifying across these 4 tax buckets can impact your overall financial strategy. Spreading your assets among different tax treatments can help manage risk and potentially improve your long-term outcomes.
Knowing the 4 tax buckets is important. Diversifying amongst them, using them, in other words, very important. So we're all going to have to pay taxes. So we're going to use that tax bucket. Some money's going to have to pay tax on it. You want to pay tax because you don't want to end up in tax court or tax jail. All right. So then the IRA option will help you build up an IRA. That's a retirement account. So that's money for your retirement. Now, the Roth option there, the tax-free Roth option, gives you a tax-free retirement income to go along with your taxable income. Now, we help people. This is called tax harvesting. We decide where to take the money out in retirement to have the less taxable options for you. So you're going to have to pay tax. And then we say, well, gosh, you just retired. You've got this great amount in your IRA. We can give you a monthly or yearly income from this IRA. The only problem is you're going to pay tax on it, but we could go over to the Roth account and we can start taking money out of that account and not pay tax. But the dilemma is, maybe we should leave that account alone and let it continue to build, because building tax-free. The IRS wants you to take money out of the Roth as soon as possible. Now, the tax-free times 2, which is life insurance, what that does is helps you with your overall estate plan and your legacy plan and your long-term care plan. So all these 4 buckets together give you the total financial plan and keeps retirement worry-free forever, not only for you, but your spouse and your next of kin who will inherit a tax-free windfall. You've had a great life. Your goal was to make sure your kids and grandkids were fine after you. You did, but you want to make sure you had a great life, so we call it a spend and leave plan. You start with a certain amount of money in a lump sum in all these 4 accounts, and the goal is for you to have a great life and your spouse to have a great life, but when you pass away, an amount equal to or greater than you started with will pass on to your children and grandchildren tax-free. That's using true diversification, not only in the market, but in the tax code.
Understanding these tax buckets is a key element in crafting a smart, tax-efficient strategy for your retirement and investments. If you're looking for tailored advice on managing your tax strategy and enhancing your financial plan, our team is here to help. Coach Pete and the team at Capital Financial are ready to offer tips and strategies to get you where you want to be in retirement. Take advantage of the no-cost, no-obligation financial review to understand the ins and outs of your retirement plan. A customized plan based on your wants and needs. Contact us today. Also, be sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel for more retirement help.
What can happen if you miss a required minimum distribution? If you know the answer to this question, you could receive a free copy in the mail of one of Coach Pete D'Arruda's latest best-selling books. Isn't that right, Coach?
Oh yeah, we've got 2 books. Now, my newest book is Tax Savvy Retirement. It's over 200 pages of how to put you in control of the tax man before, during, and after retirement. And the big book on retirement, over 300 pages, diagramming how to get to and through retirement in the best possible position. So you'll get your choice of one of these 2 books if you answer the trivia question correctly. And Thomas, it's a multiple choice question too.
It is. All right, here are your options. What can happen if you miss an RMD? A, you get bonus interest. B, you have a 50% penalty. C, you get a Roth conversion. Or D, a tax-free withdrawal. There are some of these that you may wish it was, and there are some of these that it actually is. Let's do this.
Yeah, so all you have to do is give us your answer. You see the way to do that is to call the number you see on the screen or text, and we will give the correct winners their choice of the books.
You know, I tell people all the time, you're not getting any younger. You don't get to take any of it with you.
Right.
And if you think about that, it means you are supposed to spend money, but there's a lot of people who can't go in.
Series on the big book on retirement. Consumer advocate Thomas Lipscomb here with you alongside Coach Pete D'Arruda, President, Founding Principal of Capital Financial, America's Wealth, Financial and Income Coach. And one other thing, among many things I'm leaving off the table, the author of the book that we're discussing right now.
Yeah.
So
big book on retirement.
The big book on retirement. Yeah. So we are looking at devising a playbook in Chapter 3, Coach. So we've talked about picking the right coach and just making sure that we know what's going on when it comes to rules. But what about this playbook?
A playbook is another word for a plan.
Okay.
And so we have a financial playbook for all our clients. They know exactly what kind of income they can get. We know ahead of time what they're going to want to do in retirement a lot of times, and then we can put a price to that.
Yeah.
And so then we can make a playbook. So when you get to a certain age of retirement, you're going to retire, and then you can be able to start playing. So it really is a playbook, isn't it?
I like that, yeah.
But it's. I've seen so many people who didn't have a playbook hit retirement and had no clue how much they could spend without worrying about outliving money.
Yeah.
And so they didn't have any fun because they were worried about spending too much, but they could have spent a whole lot more if they just had that simple playbook put together. So if you don't have a playbook, now's a good time to do it.
It absolutely is. And this playbook carries so many aspects. I mean, you know, I was just flipping through the chapter here a little bit. It goes into long-term care planning and healthcare planning, mitigating wills and trusts and all the different elements. It all goes into the book, doesn't it? The plan.
If you don't have a will or trust, you really need to get one. I've had some deaths in my family. My wife has as well. We've had people die, relatives way far away from us on my wife's side died without a will. And that was a big process.
Yeah,
Put it that way.
yeah.
And so get a trust or will. If you move to a different state and you already have a will or trust, make sure you get it updated to the state you're in. We have a special program we use for our clients. When you move, we just update the state and it automatically updates your estate planning documents. So you don't have to worry about paying an attorney. It's already done it for you.
Wow.
You may have to get them re-notarized. That's easy. You don't have to pay another attorney over and over again, so that's good.
There you go.
Long-term care, big issue. A lot of folks are saying, gosh, I can't afford a long-term care policy, or I've heard so many bad things about long-term care policies.
Yep.
The life insurance industry about 5 years ago stepped up, and now they give you the ability to reach into your life insurance death benefit while you're still living and have that money pay for your long-term care. So let's say you have a $1 million life insurance policy and you have to go to a long-term care facility. You need $100,000 for that for 1 year.
Yeah.
You call the life insurance company up and say, hey, I've got to go to a long-term care facility. I need $100,000 out of my death benefit of $1 million. Send it to me, and they do tax-free.
Wow.
So you could technically do that 10 years, $100,000 a year. Your insurance will be gone, but it's served its purpose. It's helped you. And life insurance used to be for when you die. Now it's for the living. So if you haven't had that explained, or if you have a life insurance policy that doesn't have that in there, sometimes it's more affordable to get the new policy with the long-term care than it is to have the current policy. So let's get a review of that and make sure you're in control. What we've always done for 32 years, I put my clients in control of the money world instead of paying attention or not having to worry about paying attention or being beholden to whatever the money world says. Now you are paying attention without even having to, because you got Coach Pete looking out for you.
Yes.
Putting you in control of the money world. So that's what the whole chapter is about. The whole book is about too. But it's all about our premise about meeting with us so we put you in control instead of you being in the back seat. Now you're in the front seat.
Exactly.
So call and get your free review, folks.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself, folks. Call, text, however you'd like to connect with us. You see the options there on the screen. We'd be honored to sit down with you. Coach, you have an amazing team of fiduciary planners.
But everything
here
in writing too, folks. There's no surprises because everything is in writing.
It's true.
Very, very important, by the way.
It's true. Folks, this has been Chapter 3. Stay tuned. Chapter 4 is right around the corner.
Thomas, what do we do on our show?
We define our terms.
Yes. What is CES?
Oh, please don't. Joe, can you help me?
Consumer Electronics Show, Thomas.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
Consumer Electronics Show, where they show all the neat stuff that's coming up that you can't afford.
Yeah, exactly.
Joe, how was the event? Was it worthwhile attending?
The event was eye-opening, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Saw a lot of cool stuff. I mean, just like you said, stuff that's not available yet but is coming. And got to play with a few gadgets, and some of the things. And of course, I won't get into it just yet. But some of the stuff that I just walked out of the SEC or CES show and said, you know what? I understand AI now much better.
Yeah, right now it's just basically a Google on steroids.
Yeah.
Is what AI is for most people. But what do you see AI becoming here in the next, let's say, 5 years and a decade?
Well, I see it really being a game changer. When you look back at the internet, and when the internet came out, it gave such usability. It gave companies a way to scale, and you see companies today coming online. I kind of like to look at it like Starbucks. Those are what I call atom companies. Those are companies that have to have thousands of stores to service millions of customers, right? Mm-hmm. Well, today, AI, you're able to deploy very, very sophisticated software using a cloud base, and companies are able to scale like nothing you've ever seen. I mean, they can go to these billion-dollar valuations literally in a very, very short period of time. And just to hear about what AI is becoming and what it is, it just opened my eyes. This year was fantastic.
So when you're a startup company, one of the main problems is finding enough people to help you get to become a big company. So I think AI can eliminate that need for a lot of employees, can it?
Absolutely. And when you look at what AI's the trajectory of AI. And of course, I'm guilty of just using it for, like you said, Google on steroids, going to ChatGPT and asking, can you reword this letter for me? And that's just the way I've used it. But there's so much more application when it comes to AI.
So who are the big attendees? Who had the biggest booth there at the CES?
I would say NVIDIA probably had the biggest display. They had all of their robots and cars, and probably the most interesting thing that I saw, which I saw a lot of interesting things, was the Tensor. I don't know if you've heard of that name before, but Tensor has a robo-car that you're going to be able to buy, and this is an autonomous Agentech type of AI that basically the steering wheel disappears, the foot pedals disappear, and this thing takes you to where you're going. And it was absolutely mind-boggling to watch this. It was just like out of a sci-fi movie. It was crazy.
So do you get in the car and you see the steering wheel and the gas pedals and they disappear in front of you, or you mean they're not even there to begin with?
No, they're there. You can drive.
Oh.
But then when the car takes over, the steering wheel pulls into the dashboard, a screen goes over, the pedals disappear into the floor. And that way the driver you can't do anything. You sit back and enjoy.
Keeps user error from happening.
That reminds me of the movie I, Robot with Will Smith, and the police were coming after him, and the whole car basically could shut itself down.
Yeah, exactly it, right.
Did they have rides available in that car, or was it just a display?
You know, they had it displayed in the Fontainebleau Hotel, and I'm sure at some point, certain folks probably could take a test ride, and but it wasn't there for me to do the test ride. I'd love to have done it, but it was in the hotel. You could get in it. You could check it all out. It was amazing.
Yeah. Now, NVIDIA had probably a big display too, right? Because they're a big AI company with the chips.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they had, some of their servers out there. They had some of their robots. They had some video of futuristic goals that they're pressing toward, and just a huge display.
What really surprised you, like you weren't expecting to see at CES this year?
Obviously AI was going to be there, no doubt.
Yep.
But probably the thing that it wasn't, so I guess it wasn't so much of what I saw, it was the impression that I took away. And it was like embracing AI as more of a platform that you put in your business, that you put to work in your life. That was probably the greatest thing that I took away. Probably the coolest things that I saw was the robocar. That was off the chart. A lot of the smart glasses, I don't know if you've ever tried those, but the smart glasses, especially if I was a retiree, I'm 52, the smart glasses is going to be a game changer. If I was a retiree, 60, 65, I tell you right now, I would 100% get these smart glasses because they're freaking amazing. I don't know if you've ever tried any.
I bought them twice and never used them. Right? I got the first generation, and then I just got this. I didn't buy the second one. I got it as a gift at Christmas time, but I haven't ever used them. But I have seen online there are some non-name brand smart glasses. You get these ads on Facebook all the time. One would translate for you. One would tape every single minute of your day, just in case you forgot what was going on. Which again is good for people as we get older. We forget things.
Yeah,
so you can't say you don't remember anymore.
You just look at it through the glasses and say, hey, remind me of what this looks like. I was going to say another thing I saw that was good because I brush my teeth. I know it's kind of corny, but I brush my teeth, I floss, but I hate doing it. But I still do it 2 times a day. And they had toothbrushes there that you were able to brush and floss at the same time. And so it was made by a company, SpeakEasy, I believe, SOCCAS, and check that out if you ever get a chance. It was really cool.
Now, that's pretty funny because, I mean, because there's a gap between your teeth, that's where the floss has to go. So how does it know that? Does it have a camera built into the toothbrush?
Well, it has a water spout
like a water
on
jet?
it. Yeah.
Okay. Like
nanobots going in and just doing their job for a few seconds.
Now, speaking of bots, what kind of personal robots did you see?
Well, they had robots folding clothes. They had them moving dishes around in the kitchens, and so a lot of homemaking type robots that I found very cool because most of the ones you see are the ones that's sweeping up the floor. And the little black thing running around, but
we have a couple of those here. We have a couple of those here. I think of when you talk about folding clothes, I think about the Jetsons. Rosie. Yeah. Rosie was a little maid robot, and so one thing I hate doing is laundry, but I do my own laundry, and I really hate folding. So I would buy a robot today if they would get promised to fold my clothes, then hang them.
Well, it was a little slow. But I could see over some time that the technology is really, really going to emerge. Now, I met the new owner of Napster while I was there, and Napster, you remember from the '90s.
Yeah, a long time ago. Yep.
This guy, he bought the Napster company, and he now that program now you can use it for like young artists. Any artist could use it. And basically, it will take your music that you're making and license it. I mean, it does the whole thing for you. It's something you probably should check out at some time.
Thomas wanted to ask about the TVs.
Yeah. So I saw an announcement that, and I'm not sure the brand, it might have been LG, but they did a wallpaper television that was less than a centimeter thin. Did you see that there?
Yes, that was really cool. I took a bunch of pictures, got some info, and that's something that I'm very interested in purchasing.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing, isn't it? I mean,
absolutely.
The technology there.
And there were several different brands there. They had some from China, some various places. But yeah, your major TV brands were there. They had their displays. But the TV, I mean, that screen was super. I mean, you could literally glue it to the wall. It's crazy.
So how big was this? Did they have it in the convention center and then already spread out to different hotels, or they have it all over different hotels?
That was a little overwhelming. You had several of the convention halls set up, and then they had 5 of the major hotels that they had speakers and panelists off and on all day long. I thoroughly enjoyed listening to some of the panelists talk and just hearing some of the techie guys and some like Hollywood producers and CEOs. Just hearing them all collaborate together was very powerful, and it was.
Well, Hollywood's not going to have these gigantic scenes anymore. They're not going to have to pay a whole bunch of people. They'll just have it all in CGI. Well, something more advanced in CGI, but they'll be able to do it all on a computer. Sort of like Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones did a lot of that, by the way. Too. Yeah, they did a lot of graphics added on.
One of the gentlemen from Warner Brothers, he was talking about that. He I don't know if you know this yet, but they're coming out with a Barbie 2. That's what he said, that they're making the Barbie 2 movie, and it's going to have some of these effects and all this stuff in it, and it's going to be really, really good.
Pretty amazing. Now tell folks, I mean, you're not just a normal person that's going to CES. You've got a pretty big tech background. Where'd you go to college?
Well, I went to Ohio State, and I've attended MIT, and, I love tech. I love digging into the stuff, and just, I'm the guy that wants to know how the watch works.
Now, you said Ohio State. Usually when someone says Ohio State, they say the Ohio State.
The Ohio State, yeah.
Thomas, you've heard that before, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you watch any football game when the guys announce where they're from. Go, the Ohio State. So, which I've been to Columbus. It's a nice place. I mean, I've been to Notre Dame too. Those are like nice college towns.
Yeah, I had a Subway store not far from campus there on 23. And it was the #1 Subway store in Columbus because of the college. And
there you go.
It's good old days back then.
Yeah.
Nice.
Now, you were looking at a lot of things there, and I'm sure because you're a big investor too. You like to invest in stocks and play the market the right way. Do you see any? Did you notice any maybe small companies that no one's ever heard of that you might think are ready to explode? With the products they have.
The one thing that I'm looking for when I'm looking for these types of investments, I'm looking for people that have big vision and then that are looking to be a disruptor. You take Elon Musk, his goal is to colonize Mars. I mean, that's just like way up there. And, these companies, fortunately, when you aim high, that you might not hit the stars, but you're going to get into the atmosphere of space, and that's what, when you're looking at these companies, seeing the technology and hearing their ambitions, do they have an open architecture that you could see this company really making some waves?
I would say a recent example of that is NVIDIA. We just had a clip on our show recently where the president was talking about, because we provide the chips to everybody, they're that foundational structure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's important to get those kind of companies, but then also the ones that no one's heard of yet, and then all of a sudden everyone hears about, but it's too late to get in almost.
So true. So true.
It's the meteoric rise, they call it. So what was your favorite interactive display? Because, a lot of these companies spend millions sometimes on their displays.
Well, one of the displays that really caught my attention was they had a display there where they had an omnidirectional treadmill. and there was a guy that was in the VR suit, and basically he was in Ready Player One. Total. I mean, he had the whole get up, and they had a bunch of demonstrations going on, lots of people in those suits, and I was watching what they were seeing in the TV, and I thought, oh my God, gaming is coming it has came a long way, and this is the evolution of the gaming industry right here.
When you think about gaming growing up, it was the fat kid that would just sit inside and play sit in front of the TV. But
right.
Now you have interactive gaming where you can get in shape by playing games. And that makes sense. I told Thomas, and Jose, you probably heard this too. Back in the day, I played a game called Halo.
Oh, yeah.
Halo was on, I had the Xbox back then.
Me
and
too.
my rule back then, and my bedroom was underneath my workout room, so my wife would hear me because I'd start playing the game like at 12 at night and go all the way. But my rule was I had to ride the exercise bike while I was playing Halo.
Nice.
So it was funny.
Nice.
So when I started being chased, I would pedal faster, even though it had nothing to do with the game. But I was in really good shape, so I made myself work out to play the game. But now you're going to have to work out to play the games, because if not, you're going to get killed too easy on the game.
One thing that did stand out too, that I don't know, I just never had thought of this, but listening to a lot of the CEOs of these different companies speak, and some of the producers at Hollywood, they are bringing influencers out now and allowing them to stream from the TV set. They're bringing them into these companies and allowing them to stream to their audiences. And that's how these movies, they clearly said it, that's how these movies go through these huge ticket sales prior, as the movie's coming out, because they let these streamers are coming in, and I thought that was very, very interesting.
You have to build the excitement, because back in the day, they would wait maybe 6 months before a movie would come out. You started hearing about it, then you started seeing advertisements on TV, but it would be like a 6-month runway into the movie. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, the movies don't even go to this theater a lot of times. They come right to Netflix or Amazon or something like that. So everything's changing, and influencers are becoming a big part of that.
Oh, big part. I was very impressed with that. One word I'll drop in there for you is agentic AI. It's something that you probably want to get to know better. That's going to probably be a $1 trillion industry before you know it, and that's something to really explore. Find companies that are focused on agentic type of AI. That's going to be your autonomous type AI, and that's going to be the big thing here down the road.
So AI without you having to be around, I guess.
That's
right?
exactly
without you
it.
having to pilot it. Okay.
The self-driving car, for example, would be agentic AI.
Okay. What about, that's what we always hear about, self-driving car. What else could we, what other, you think it'd be self-driving planes down the road?
Oh, boy.
You get on a plane, there's no pilot up there?
I'm sure that'll eventually be the case. I don't want to be that first few guys that get in there and,
Anything else that excited you during the show?
I just going through and just seeing the technology, seeing the massage chairs, that was pretty exciting, because now they've got them where they'll stretch your whole body out, and so that was pretty nice. Really, just being overwhelmed is probably the word. You can only see so many things before your brain says, "Bleh."
Oh yeah.
But there was so many cool things. There was a couple, I'll tell you something that I saw that was really interesting, and you may have seen these before and you may not. They had crafts there that are full size, and you can put 1 or 2 people in and fly them around. It's a giant drone that you can fly your body around in. Like I could get in, I could buy this thing, get in it here at my house, and fly on the other side of town to my buddy's house. And
that would come in handy in New York City, where they have a lot of traffic, wouldn't it? You just fly over the traffic.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing. When I was looking, I was like, wow, either I'm behind on my knowledge here, or this is new. And so
do you get in it like I remember Orville and Wilbur Wright? They would get in there like
pretty much.
Like Superman. Is that what you need? Is it big enough? It's a big drone then. It's a big
drone. It's got big blades on it, and I'm sure it has some limitations, but you can literally get in this thing and fly over to your buddy's house.
Got to make sure you don't cut somebody's head off with those blades too, right?
Oh yeah, Them blades were no joke. They were huge.
What is it? Battery powered, I guess, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, did it have new battery technology coming out? Did you see anything like that? Because that's always a big thing. Sodium batteries.
I didn't see very much on that. I'm sure it was there because obviously the battery is powering all of our stuff. We want better and better. Jackery had some great solar batteries there. They had a huge gazebo design that you can buy and put in your backyard. At the same time, it's a whole charging station. So that was kind of cool.
That's pretty cool,
yeah.
So, how did they have the show? I know you said it was spread out all amongst a bunch of different hotels and the conference, whatever they call the convention center. How'd they have the booths divided? Did they have them in different sections? Like you went to Tomorrow World over here, and you went to sort of like Disney. You had different places, or
yes, they had it customized by theme, and so you could see some of the cars here. You could see some of the health and nutrition things. Oh, that's another thing I saw. I saw this one. Workout gym. It's called Monster Gym, I believe was the name of Gym Monster. That's the name of it.
Okay.
And this is the granddaddy of home fitness. It's a very small thing that you can literally fold up, but it's got the technology built into it. It's like having 200-300 pound weights that you can bench press, you can do all kinds of stuff, and this whole thing just folds out, and it was made really, really well. I was like, wow. But when you're done, you just literally fold it up, and it's like hardly
That's amazing.
anything.
So what innovation made you say, why hasn't this existed before?
I would say the drone was probably that. I was like, wow, I'm surprised it's kind of taken this long, because drones has been out for a long, long time.
Oh, yeah.
And and again, I may just be behind in that area, but when I saw that, I was just like, wow. The gaming, I'll tell you, the gaming came a long, long way. Just seeing those people in the full gear, I can't remember the name of what you call that, but just seeing the folks in the VR glasses and the suits, and then watching them play the game on the TV, it was just amazing.
All right, 2 more points and then I'll let you go. But I mean, your phone, I've always told Thomas, there's going to come a time where we're not carrying our phone around all the time. I mean, it's a burden a lot. But I have my credit cards in here too, so this is my wallet basically. But
yeah.
I mean, is there going to come a time where you don't have to have a phone, but you can still have all the functionality you have with the phone right now?
I think so. I think eventually you're going to have some type of futuristic device that, whether that's a band you put around your wrist, and it has a small projection that when you hit the button, it kind of pops up, and you got everything kind of almost in the air. Yep. I did see a phone there, though, that was really, really amazing. It was a very, very thin phone that it was like a trifold. It folded out, and it was the size of an iPad. And it was big, but then when you folded it back up, it was basically like this iPhone I got right here. That was really interesting. Samsung, it was one of their brands, and it was pretty much brand new. So eventually you'll probably see that hit the market at some point.
Because all these companies are trying to come out with the thing that replaces the phone, right? So but I guess it's a ways down the road. Now, if this wasn't your first trade show, you've been to CES before, right?
Yeah.
How do you compare this to others?
Well, it'd been a while since I had been, and this one just it seemed to have a lot more action. You just saw a lot more people. There were a lot more gadgets, and just I think the thing that I believe really made the difference was the panelists that they had pulled together, and I'm sure they're going to keep doing this more and more in the future, and that was really impressive.
So did you go to some of the speeches?
Yeah, it was like I went to a conference. I went to a conference and I went to a trade show.
What was your favorite speaker? Who was your favorite speaker?
It was a panelist that basically was speaking on the future of the coaching and digital marketing industry, and it was a combination of you had a guy there from Twitch. You had a guy. One of them was a Hollywood producer. Substack had a big presence there. I don't know if you know what Substack is. It's like YouTube, except you own your own stuff. And so that was probably the some of the highlight of the speaking and panelist. Yeah.
I've told my staff we need to have a Substack page, but it never happens.
Yeah,
so I guess I'm going to do it again. Thomas is getting worried. I see him over there.
I was very impressed. The owner of Substack was there, and he was talking about where they're at, where they're going. and just how they, work with the people that's on their site. So definitely check that out.
So you say this year's like just more.
Yeah, we'll keep it at 10,000. But I would say probably the biggest thing was leaving the show. I felt like I had a new perspective on what AI is really going to become down the road. And it got me really fired up. I'm thinking about going back and taking some classes at MIT on Agentech and on some of that AI so that I can better incorporate it into my business and so forth. So very excited about it.
Well, here's one thing I just forgot. I said it was my last question, but I got one more here. But blockchain, we've heard so much about blockchain over the years.
Yeah.
Were there any blockchain type companies there showing you what the future is going to be in blockchain?
Yes. There was some companies there illustrating, some of their stuff and blockchain. Absolutely. And blockchain is going to continue to emerge, especially with quantum computer. And you put blockchains and quantum computers together, that's going to be a huge deal, especially when we have access to it.
Yeah, I really think that's the future of voting. If we can perfect the voter ID, then if people vote on the blockchain, there'll be no more cheating anymore.
That's exactly right.
And so that's the way to go. One final thing: your favorite restaurant while in Vegas?
My favorite restaurants, believe it or not, it was just Gordon Ramsay's Burger Bar at the Planet Hollywood.
I've heard good things about that, actually. He's got some of his other places, like Hell's Kitchen is good, but it's expensive and it's a long wait. But the Burger Bar is good. The best steakhouse I've ever been to there is the Golden Steer.
Oh, yeah.
Golden Steer.
Yeah,
it's featured in the movie Casino. It's one of the old-timey ones, and there you go. Thanks a lot, Joe. Take care. We'll look forward to talking to you again in the future.
Yes, sir. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Hey, I'm Coach Pete Deruta, president of Capital Financial. Folks, the financial world is very, very confusing. That's why we put together a series of educational videos called webinars. You can see them at any time by signing up at CoachPete.com. We'll see you there. This is a Little Green Book of Life. It's on Amazon. I've had it out for years. It's 100 pages. It's interactive, though, where it asks you estate planning questions. It asks you where your money is, where your life insurance is, what's the phone number of the life insurance company. The problem is my father passed away this year, and this came in handy because he actually did fill some of this out before he passed away. When you pass away, people don't know. Like, you have these secrets. Well, what's my Facebook passcode? You can put it all in here. So when you pass away, nobody wants to even think about it, but you can even write your own obituary in here. So now it makes it a whole lot simpler when you pass away. The next of kin could be
it's so important.
Little Green Book of Life,
especially now with crypto assets and everything. I mean,
yes.
I've often said that, at least with my wife and I, if we know each other's cell phone password, we could probably do it, because then she gets Bill's email that I don't know about. I get stuff email he doesn't know about. But the passcode, at least you could go in and change passwords to different accounts if you had to. So I think that's critical. But I mean, think about all these people who own Bitcoin or things like that, and they're going to die. And if you don't have that exact code, it's gone. In fact, I think about 10 or 15% of Bitcoin, it's already been lost.
Well, the story the other day, the guy finally gave up. He was going to the dump. His wife threw away his computer. She was doing spring cleaning, and on his computer had his Bitcoin codes. And he searched the dump for over 10 years looking for it, because it was worth like $1 billion, and he never found it. If you were a farmer, and I've used this analogy before, and you had a field, and you were out in your field, you were planting corn seeds that day, and you look into the entrance of the farm, you see a big dust cloud coming, and it's 3 big SUVs pulling up into your yard, and they get out of the farmhouse, and 3 guys get out of each one of those with sunglasses on, looking like Men in Black. And they say, Mr. Farmer, we're going to give you a choice today, and this is going to be a lifetime choice, and you better think about it. And they say, we're either going to tax you today on the corn, there's little corn niblets you're putting in the ground. We're going to tax you on that little bag of corn niblets, and we're going to leave forever. Or we're going to not tax you today. You don't have to pay tax today, Mr. Farmer. You get a great day, you're not going to pay tax. But we're going to be back every single year that you harvest and tax you on every ear of corn forever. As the farmer, which one would you take? You know what the average American is doing? They're saying, oh, thanks for the choice, Mr. IRS. We would gladly not pay taxes today. We'll see you every single harvest season forever. And then we'll also see you on our harvest when we die. So, no. The answer is no. Don't use those tax-deferred accounts all the time, or don't get addicted to them, because there are better choices out there.
So let's talk about healthcare, because between healthcare, Medicare, and healthcare long-term care, there's a lot of risk for seniors, because, you know, every person I know now, I play a lot of golf with a lot of seniors.
You do a great job playing golf, by the way.
Everybody's got a condition or a situation.
Yeah. Well, it happens. And so one thing we can't plan for is the unexpected. But we have to have money put aside for those unplanned events, called emergency account or whatever, or liquid money. And so if you lock all your money away, if you're putting it all in these stocks that you're hoping are going to one day go way up and they're not, you feel like you're captive to your investments. Like I've talked to a lot of millionaires, but they have all their money tied up. They don't feel like they're millionaires at all. So it's about having financial freedom. And if you set your portfolio up the right way, Tom, like you've done, you could feel financial freedom. I can tell by looking at you, you feel financial free.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not just talking the talk, I'm walking the walk.
Right.
And I'm out there every day and play golf 4 to 5 days a week.
I see you.
Pickleball 2 days a week. I mean, I'm taking it serious. My wife and I are going on Viking cruise from Budapest to Amsterdam. That's what retirement's supposed to be about.
Having fun.
Is having fun. And that's what I'm doing.
Welcome back into our series on the big book on retirement. I'm Thomas Lipscomb, again here with you alongside the best-selling author himself, Coach Pete D'Arruda. Chapter 4, if you have your book in front of you, you already know what I'm going to say, but it is prioritize training and conditioning. This is a good one, Coach. Yeah. So prioritize training and conditioning. When I think about this, I think working out and getting myself in better shape than I am right now.
Get your body in shape, but get your mind in shape and make sure your plan's in shape.
Okay, yeah.
All right? So same kind of concept. I mean, you can tell if you ever watch a sporting event, some teams look more prepared than others.
It's true. So that's a good thing. Now, preparing for a sport, you may run, you may do some cardio, then you may want to work on your
lift weights, these kind of things.
What about retirement? You've got top 10 ways to prepare for retirement here. So this is basically that training regiment for retirement.
Yeah, one is to familiarize yourself with your Social Security benefits, or have a planner who can tell you the best options to take. Medicare supplements. These kind of got to line those up, because once you're 65, you're off health insurance now, you're on Medicare.
There you go.
And so if you can't afford Medicare, the state has a program called Medicaid. And we've heard some people brag about how they had some advisor talked them into spending down all their money. In other words, giving their money away, retitling it in their kids' names or whatever, getting themselves down. It looks like they don't have much money, so they can go qualify for Medicaid, which the state takes care of you. The problem, there's a lot of problems here. If you do that, the government can go back 5 years and saw you move money on purpose. You can get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
And do you really want the government to decide where they're going to put you? If you're on Medicaid, you have no control about what facilities you go to. And they're not going to be, many times they're not going to be the best.
Right.
But if it's better for folks that don't have any other option, it's good, but it shouldn't be abused. Let's say you retitle all your assets in your son's name, and he decides to get married. So now half the assets are belonging to his wife now, your daughter-in-law. Let's say they get a divorce and she leaves, half your money goes with her.
Oh, no.
So be very careful. Or let's say leave it all in your son's name and he's driving down, let's say, Highway 40, and he's not paying attention. He rear-ends somebody and kills somebody. They could sue him for all the money he has, which is your money. It's all gone.
That's true.
So be very careful about trying to play these games. But that's just one thing. Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, what else we have?
So there's a lot going on here, and I think the main one that I want to focus on is actually the very last one, and that's ask the right questions.
Oh, yeah. Well, a lot of people are afraid to ask questions to begin with. Don't be afraid to ask questions, and don't be afraid to ask for the answers in writing, by the way.
Good.
We give all our answers in writing, because someone can say anything, and then they can deny they said anything if you don't have it in writing.
Yes.
So make sure you get it in writing. It shouldn't be confrontational anyway. We are here to help you. We want to make sure that you have the best retirement possible, and any planner should do that too. So every decision we make is in your favor. That's the definition in my mind of a fiduciary.
Yes.
Always doing what's best for you. If we benefit, so we explain when we benefit, but we can't take commissions out of your money, number one, as a fiduciary. So if you have somebody taking commissions out of your money, they're not a real fiduciary.
Yeah, I love that.
So again, the more money you can keep for yourself, the more money you're going to have later, and the more money, the more you can understand fees and commissions and eliminate those. We call those financial termites. you're in control now instead of the termites.
Yeah, that's
We
great.
do it all
Coach.
for you, and we explain it in the book, and then we can explain it in person if you'd like to meet with a planning team at no cost. The information's on your bookmark, or you can see the number on the screen.
It's amazing that you do it at no cost because there's so much value behind this. But folks, make sure you are asking the right questions. I think as you've head through the first few chapters of this book, you'll see that it's all about preparing, conditioning, getting that plan in place, and we're going to get into even more detail later on. But make sure you're asking the right questions. Contact Coach Pete and the team today. You see the numbers and information on your screen. Get that total retirement income plan.
We say be prepared, not surprised. Just be careful of where you put your money. Make sure not to put all your money in one place. Pick out 20 that you really like. Make sure they're not meme coins unless you're going to actively watch that and get in low and get out quick in a matter of hours or seconds.
That's good, yeah.
I like long-term holding. I like Bitcoin. I like Ethereum. I like not cheaper to use to transact with.
Hey, thanks for spending a little bit of time with us here on our info series, Women and Money. I've got Miss Jana, Miss Amanda,
Hi.
I'm Jackie, and Coach Pete. He is giving us all the great information. We're asking him questions. How do we proceed through the stages of our lives as women with our own money? And one of those is securing lifetime income. Is this only a discussion for pre-retirees?
I think it's any time. I mean, we need to always talk about it until we accomplish it. And once we accomplish it, we always need to be thinking how we can get more than one stream of income. You know, when we retire, we got Social Security, supposedly. I get that income. But we also need to have some money that we put aside on our own in our 401ks, our thrift savings plans, our 403b, wherever we save that money. But the problem there is we save, and we build up this nice lump sum. We see the lump sum, it looks nice. So you won that race, you built up that money. The problem is there's another race getting ready to start, and that's the race to retirement income. How do we get the most income we could qualify for without ever running out of money? And so that's when we do income planning. We've heard that before. Based on your lump sum right here, how much can we translate that lump sum into to give you a lifetime income you can't outlive for you and your spouse? And we do that every day. And so the answer to your question, it was a long answer, is anytime you're ready, we can discuss income. But once you get it discussed and accomplished, you never have to worry about it again.
That is a beautiful thing.
That's a good thing. Get it, that little green check mark.
I wish they would teach this. Aren't they going to start teaching this in school?
Well, they're not, and they're never going to teach it the
right
right way. You need to deal with someone who really specializes in lifetime income, not just how to save and where to save and what to do there. It's how to get that lifetime income you deserve. And most folks don't specialize in this. They specialize in trying to grow your money. Grow, but never tell you how to preserve, protect, and give you lifetime income. That's what Coach Pete does.
The hidden fees is the one thing that
financial
the termites.
Financial termites.
Oh my gosh.
All in some of these plans. So and you can't see them.
No.
Sort of like a real, that's why we call them financial termites.
Yeah.
Termites at home are invisible, but they're doing damage. Fees in your portfolio are invisible, but they're doing a ton of damage. They could take half your income away if you don't know what you're doing. So let us analyze your portfolio first, a forensic financial fee analysis we call it, and identify all the unnecessary risk, fees, commissions you're taking, and then put a plan together that makes more sense for what you're trying to do. Have income all the way through retirement. We do it every day.
Yeah, because we're just kind of, I feel like we're going through life and putting money in this 401k account. You know, you're a busy woman.
And you go without because you're putting money in this plan. This plan better be working, and it better be more money than I put in the future, or why didn't I just have fun with this money?
And you haven't diversified, you've messed up, you've put all your eggs in one basket, and then all of a sudden, here you are high and dry at retirement age.
The income basket needs to have a whole lot of eggs in it when we get close to retirement, because they're going to hatch all the way through retirement. You're never going to have any worries again.
Yeah, we like that. We know how to make eggs hatch.
Yeah.
We do the income plans better than anybody out there. I guarantee you, I'm 33 years doing this. So that's a long time, by the way. I know I have boyish good looks. But I just want to 59.
I want to make the point that it's so important, because if women think they're going to live on just Social Security, and
That's scary.
Take a little money out of that IRA that used to be our 401k. You might run out of money, and women 65 and over are more likely to face poverty.
By the money world. I know the big words are used a lot of times to try to intimidate you. Like when you go to a doctor, they try to use these big words.
Don't I know
the pharmaceutical industry, these drugs are like this long, like the words are, and then the disclaimer at the end, with all the bad things that can happen, it's probably worse than the regular thing. I just got my shingle shot today, first one, by the way. So we'll do an update on this next time we do one
please.
of these. But you're supposed to do one shingle shot now, and then I have to get another one done like three months
booster,
now.
yes.
But the good thing is the side effect of following your plan is you're going to have long-term growth and retirement money.
The side effects to Coach Pete's plan is lifetime income and having to spend money. Sometimes here's what happens, guys. You won't believe this.
Hopefully no shingles.
But I'll meet with folks after a year or two in retirement, and I'll look and I'll say, you're not spending all the income we have put aside for you, because they're worried they're going to outlive it. I said, no, look, this money's going to come every year. It's never going to stop coming, so spend it.
Right.
Because your kids will if you don't. So spend it now, have fun with it.
Isn't that true?
Yes.
Well, how do you create, you talk about the simplest way. So for me, I just worry. I'm a anxiety-driven kind of person. I worry so much. So what is the simplest way to just start, to just create this plan?
The simplest way to start worrying, to stop worrying, to stop worrying, is to do a plan.
Okay.
Because we all worry. We worry, and we worry because we're afraid of what's going to happen, but we never do something about it. So we stay worried and we give ourselves an ulcer when all it takes is a 1 hour meeting with me for me to figure out where you are now and what you want to do, and then another 1 hour meeting for me to present my team and I have come up with to put you in control. Now, I do a lot more work behind the scenes, but for you, it's only 2 hours, and we can get you all set. So that's 2 hours of never worry again.
Okay.
That's the baby steps you talk about.
Baby steps, and we show you, and we actually outline it for you. We tell you the who, the why, the where, the wow, the why, and the what.
All of it.
All that, and the how. And we do it all for you, though. So we show you what we did, but we also tell you how we did it, just in case you want to do it yourself. So there's nothing worse than somebody just throwing something in front of you and you not knowing, like, when you go to get, let's say, a dozen donuts and they charge you $29, and you say, wait a minute, it's a dozen donuts, let me see the receipt. So we show you the receipts to show you how we got to where we got.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's important to see the receipts.
Today we've talked about so many different stages. We went from graduating college to getting married to getting divorced, and here we are, approaching retirement or being in retirement. But a lot of people just think, I'll do it tomorrow.
Yep.
I'll wait.
true?
It's not
So
right now. There's so much right now that's on my mind. I'm just going to put it off. And a week becomes a year. And then 10 years down the road, I'm like, oh my God, I could have done so much. Had I just stopped and called you and had you do it for me.
It's so easy to procrastinate. We all do it.
Yes.
Again, it's about making that step. This is a lifetime decision. A lot of people are afraid it's your money. I understand it's your money. But leaving it where it is not a solution a lot of times. If it's at risk right now, we've been pretty spoiled the last 15 years or so. We haven't had a market crash, one of these big ones that stays down. What if you left all your money at risk and it was going up, and then all of a sudden we have the roller coaster and it goes down, 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 and then you get ready to retire and it keeps going down? You're in trouble because number one, you don't have a guaranteed lifetime income plan yet. And then when you have to start taking money out, you're taking it out and it's way down, you're locking in your losses, and you're having to take out more stock than you ever imagined because the stocks are way down in value. So we have a solution for this. Again, we'll do a forensic fee analysis. We'll do that total retirement plan, we call it, and we'll give you a GPI plan: growth, protection, lifetime income. There's not much more anyone can ask for in this, and this puts you, man or woman, in charge of retirement.
I love the sound of that.
And you get confidence when you do that, so you don't worry anymore. I've taken people that were worried, and they were still working, and told them they could retire tomorrow. Matter of fact, they could have retired 2 or 3 years ago if they met me, and put a plan together now that gives them double the income they were going to get if they kept working. We can do that. It's about lifetime income planning, utilizing what's available out there, telling the market to take a hike, by the way. We don't need the stock market once it's done the good job. That's the second phase of the relay race, is safe money and lifetime income. And you never run out of money. Perpetually goes around and around. Sort of like playing Monopoly and never worrying about going to jail. You're always pass and go.
Hey.
And we can do that for you.
I love that.
You make it sound easy.
It is a lot easier than Wall Street tries to make it look. The hardest thing, though, is getting you to pick up your phone and calling us to schedule an appointment. We're trying to help you. I know I don't like going to the doctor or dentist either. They're trying to help me as well. We are really trying to help you, and this is a way for you to perhaps get 50% more lifetime income than you ever imagined. 50% more than you were going to get.
Get started today.
Get started today. We'll show you how your numbers work with your numbers and your life.
Call Coach Pete.
%54% of Americans say that inflation is the #1 risk that they're facing. And I mean, prices have gone up. I went to Vegas a while back and I just kept saying, that's crazy, that's crazy, that's ridiculous, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
How do people handle inflation?
It is, I have a radio show, been about 22 years on national radio, and we've talked about inflation for years, but no one would pay attention. Now, the last 5 years, people are now starting to pay attention. Things are getting, and they were getting more expensive as we went on because there's no 49-cent gas anymore we had in the 70s, but it was so slow. It's sort of like when you put a frog in a pot of water, and you turn up the heat very slowly, he'll boil to death eventually. Whereas if you have the boiling pot already boiling, you drop a frog in, he'll jump out. So now we're starting to notice it because we're seeing that boiling water. That's the inflation. So what are you going to do about it? Make sure that your assets are outperforming inflation.
Right.
We can't have our money sitting in a CD. That's losing money safely, we call it, because CDs are paying, let's say, 3%, but inflation's 5% back in the day when inflation was 6, 7, 8, but inflation's still pretty high. So we have to have our money growing faster than inflation rate, but we also don't want to take too much risk with that money.
Right.
Because you're not going to keep up with inflation at all if you're losing money.
Yeah, and the knock on income annuities is they don't protect against inflation. Well, there's several ways to do it. Number one, you can buy inflation protection, a cost of living that your check goes up every year. There are some companies out there that if the market goes up, your check will go up, but it won't go down. It'll only go up. That's one way. And so the other way is, you do what I do, and that I got 13 of them, and I've laddered them so that they kick in at different times, but that increases my income over my life.
The negative things I've heard about annuities over the year, Tom, and especially from some of the writers who don't understand the financial world, they write they pick one annuity out of a bucket of thousands, and let's say they grab a variable annuity. Right. Now, I've never offered a variable annuity. I don't really believe in them. There's some good ones that seem to be fun. And Bill is joining us from Tucson, Arizona today. Bill, welcome in.
Oh, thanks for inviting me. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Now, like I said, you're the inventor of the 4% rule. How did you come about that, and what inspired the research behind this 4% rule that we hear about?
Sure. I was a relatively new financial planner back in the early 90s. Not a young one. It was a second career, but I got into that, and I started fielding questions from my clients who were, basically baby boomers with about 20 to 25 years to retire, and they were just starting to think seriously about how much they should be saving, and what they could spend in retirement. And I tried to find guidance on, the spending withdrawals, and couldn't find anything anywhere. No books, no magazines. Soft drinks were not consumed year-round. Generally, they'd shut down after Labor Day and open up, sometime in the spring, which is pretty amazing when you consider what the business is like today.
Yeah.
But the business grew. They picked up the 7-Up franchise in the 1930s. The business grew and became substantial. And I was very disillusioned with what was happening with the space program, so I decided to accept the invitation to join. And glad I did. I learned a lot there.
Yeah. Well, so you got your degree, you did the bottling, and then something must have gone off in your head about 17 years into that career as a bottler. You're working in a bottling plant and working behind the scenes, and you decided to be a financial planner. Tell me about that.
Yeah, sure. Well, first thing, we sold the business in the 100th year that was in the family. So I no longer had employment. So I had to find it, and I spoke to my wife and kids, and let's not get stuck here in the cold Northeast. Let's go somewhere where it's nice and warm in the winter. So we ended up in San Diego for many years, and then finally here in Tucson.
And so you were in the financial planning career. There's a lot of us out here, and you must have been sitting down one night and you said, well, I need to figure out how much someone could take out of their portfolio and not run out of money. Is that how what was the thought process to come up with the 4% rule?
Much.
And what year was it?
Sure. That was I did research in 93 and published a paper in 94. And essentially what I was trying to answer was, what was the worst case situation in history? If you wanted to be ultra conservative and withdraw at a rate which guaranteed 30 years based on anything that's happened in the last 100 years, what would it be? Turned out to be about 4.15%. Was the worst case, which applied to the person retired in October of 68 who ran into a buzzsaw market, bear markets, one after the other, and then terrible inflation, which was to increase their withdrawals.
We call that sequence of return risk when you retire into a bad environment like that. And
That's
so
right.
you tested those back in the 90s. And what surprised you most when you were doing this research on the 4% rule?
Well, I was surprised at first when I looked at the asset allocation. I wasn't sure how much you need in stocks and bonds. And when I ran the numbers, it clearly indicated you need a very substantial position stock, 65% probably, and bonds not so much. if you go much higher than that stocks, you get hit with a bad bear market, you get devastated. If you go low and with more bonds, you won't have enough oomph in the portfolio to generate the returns you need to get the withdrawals.
Right. And when we say stocks these days, there's so many stocks, and people need to
commission and so forth.
Yes.
So it can be done. People today are very fortunate to have this available to them.
Now, when we hear about different rules of withdrawal that you can make sure to have a successful retirement, Susie Orman's saying 3%. I've even heard someone say, Dave Ramsey says 8%.
Uh-huh.
What are your opinion on those, or that range? What do you think about that?
Well, I haven't sat down with either of them to discuss the basis of their feelings, but just looking at my own data, I use historical data. I basically reconstruct the portfolios of investors retiring in 1926 to date. I had seen nothing in history that indicates anything less than 4.7%, which is the new number, my updated number. And to get below that, we would have to have something like in the 60s and 70s again. If you remember, we just had terrible bear markets followed by years of high inflation. And I don't see that on the horizon yet, at least.
What's your opinion on the S&P 500? Is that a good, I know Vanguard has a really good one. VOO is a symbol. That's a pretty nice S&P 500 fund. What do you think about that one as far as being included in that portfolio to get this 4.7 you're talking about?
It probably makes sense to do that over the long term, although on the short term, you're going to have to be careful because stocks are very highly valued and very concentrated in a few names, so that not always doesn't end well.
Now, you said you've been quoted that the 4% rule was never meant to be a law, more of a process. How should people use it today without locking themselves into a rigid number, I guess we say?
Yeah, I've identified in my book what I call 8 elements, which are basically assumptions that you can use to personalize your withdrawal plan. They include things like the planning horizon, how long you're planning to withdraw money, what type of account, taxable, non-taxable, do you plan to leave a balance at the end of the account for your heirs, and so on. Those 8 factors, you get values for each of those, and then you can next step is take a look at stock market valuation and inflation. And using those 2 factors, I've got tables set up so people can just look up their number.
Nice. Now, folks, we're talking to Bill Bengen, and he is the founder of the 4% rule. And Bill, for retirees worried about inflation today, what's the best way to protect their spending power long term?
Well, that's a real concern. I always say that inflation is the greatest enemy of retirees. I think in the bond portfolio, they could use tips, significant exposure to tips. And I think also they want to invest in top quality companies that go through a rough period of time of inflation and come out okay. They got pricing power.
This is more of a psychological question than a financial question, but do you think retirees today are more likely to run out of money or leave too much unspent out of fear?
The biggest problem I'm aware of is not spending enough. A lot of folks think that they can just spend off their interest and the dividends and live off that. That really constrains you tremendously. You have a much richer lifestyle. I imagine the heirs must be very pleased with that because that means they're going to get a lot of money. But that don't help the retiree much.
Bill, I had a client about 20 years ago, and I said, John, you're not spending much money. You've got all this money. He had millions of dollars. I said, you need to start spending it, having some fun because you're retired. And he said, that's a good point, Coach, because he had a friend who said if he doesn't spend it, his kids will go first class and spend all his money. So he still hadn't got that. He was still afraid to spend it, but his friend was putting pressure on him to start spending it because he said if you don't spend it, your kids will.
Yeah, there you go.
That's about what you were saying right there. What's the biggest misconception about your rule, and what do you like to clear up now, once and for all, that we're on the air? What do you think that people just don't understand about the 4% rule?
I think a lot of people think 4% or 4.7%, as I now phrase it, means that you take out 4.7% of your portfolio value every year, and that's not the system that the rule is based on. It's based on more like a Social Security system, where the first year you use your percentage. It's 4.7%. You have $1 million in an IRA. You take out $47,000. After the first year, you throw away that 4.7% and just simply give yourself a cost and living adjustment like Social Security.
So you increase it a little bit every year, over and above that what it was. Okay, and even in a down market.
Yes, my methods are designed to get you through bear markets. I mean, one thing about bear markets, we know that they're nasty and they can reduce your withdrawal rate, but they don't last forever. They'll get us a recovery and you'll come back. So it shouldn't be too impatient when that happens.
Now, tell us about A Richer Retirement, a book you wrote, and what can readers expect, and how can they learn more about your latest research as well?
Sure. Well, my book is basically designed like a cookbook where people can go to it and find recipes for a way to construct a withdrawal plan during retirement using 10 basic fundamentals. And then my website, bengenfs.com, I have developing a whole library of scenarios that people can look up something that's close to their own situation in terms of the 8 elements, then possibly use that as a template for their own retirement plan.
You know, a lot of times I'll sit down with a couple, and one of the two in this couple will be very risk adverse, and the other one will be a very big risk taker. How do you deal with a couple like that?
Unfortunately, I don't have to deal with it anymore. I've been retired.
Back in the day, how'd you do that? How'd you deal with people?
It was tough to reconcile. Yeah. You had to try and sit with them and sort out some of these financial issues. Some people are just very fearful of certain things. It's irrational, and there's not much can be done.
Look at Japan. I mean, it took them forever to recover or get back on the right track, and that's the only thing that worries me, Bill. And I think that these days, though, I think the average investor is a lot more astute than they have been in the past. I think that's why they may help the recovery more than the stock companies themselves help the recovery, because people they have the fear of missing out. So when the stock goes down, they jump in and buy many times. And
that's using the correct strategy. Whether it is today, I'm not so sure. Yeah. But yeah, I agree with that.
You know, back in the day, they'd say, try to buy a falling stock was like trying to catch a falling knife. Yeah. And that is true on some of these penny stocks that go down. But for the traditional S&P 500 companies, that doesn't really apply these days, does it? I mean, it is good to buy low and sell high.
Yeah, I think if you're investing in a broadly diversified fund, you're protected against individual business risk. And you should just be fine over the long term.
Well, folks, his name is Bill Bengen, and his book is Richer Retirement, and he is the inventor of the 4% rule. Bill, thanks for your time today.
Thanks for having me, Pete. Appreciate it.
And, folks, we'll be right back after this.
What are your thoughts around long-term care?
I really like the concept. I've never liked the policies.
Yeah.
The policies haven't been good. I've been licensed to offer long-term care for over 30 years, and I've never offered a single standalone long-term care policy. Now, I have offered a lot of these new life insurance policies because they have the long-term care. They've got, well, let's say you don't need the long-term care. It turns into a tax-free death benefit.
Right.
Let's say you need income in retirement. If we set up right, you can get a tax-free retirement income from it. Life insurance is really the Swiss Army knife in the financial world.
Yeah, I think more people will be going towards a life insurance way because I own the traditional long-term care, and it's a great product. So I'm going to get benefits. I got a good one before, but the premiums have gone up.
Right.
Now we've been told they're not going to go up anymore.
That's what they always say.
I hope that's true. But the nice thing about the life insurance is that you've got this bucket of money. And if you need it, it's there. If you don't need it, you can take it back out as an emergency fund, or if you don't need it and you die, it goes tax-free to your kids. So it's a 3-in-1 type solution. I think that's going to fit a lot more people. But even people who are already can't buy that policy, they can't buy because they have medical problems, they have health, they can still get an annuity with a long-term care rider.
Yeah, that too. I mean, so you can always, there's always a way. You can't take the first rejection and say, well, life stinks, I guess I'm going to have to be where I'm at. No, there's always alternatives, Tom. And so that's what we've specialized in the last 30 years, is finding the alternatives to get you where you need to be.
And that's why I think it's so important to work with a financial professional.
Hey guys, it's Parker Holland here, Chief Wealth Strategist at Capital Financial Advisory Group. We do a lot of case studies on the radio. You've seen us talk about it on our video series and TV shows, but we like doing real world examples. So we have a lot of people ask us, can you run the numbers for us? And they're even comfortable with us using them here on the board for you. This is a real study from a radio listener that came in, and we're not looking at the comprehensive plan here where we go tax, healthcare, Medicare, Social Security. We're looking solely at the income off their investments, because that's what we all save for. Bills and taxes never stop, but paychecks do. Like Coach Pete says, you got to replicate the income. So here's a real world example for a radio listener. They're currently 57 and 55. Husband and wife, spouse, doesn't matter what you're looking at. There's normally always an age difference most of the time, but they're looking at retiring in 7 years. So what we're looking at here, this will be age 62, and then of course with layover, overlap, this is going to be closer to 64. Now, they had about 1.4 million in retirement savings. Now, Wall Street is going to recommend that you take the younger spouse's age, subtract it from 100, and that's the risk versus safety. Unless they're more conservative, it can flip. Now, in this scenario, we don't run off a risk tolerance. Our plans and strategies are focused on income and standard of living. We want to make sure we're able to maintain the income they need. When we ran the numbers based on what they have and we back-sourced it, that put us at around $560,000 for their plan, and that's what I'm going to use here in this example. $560,000 with an A+ rated company. That's going to be a worst case scenario for our clients. So that means that no matter what the market does, they put in 560, we know it stays 560. What we're doing is, instead of holding an IRA or a retirement account with a custodian broker like Fidelity or Vanguard, we use insurers like Nationwide, North American, Athene. Let's go a little farther, because people are living longer. Let's go to age 97. That income received worst case scenario is going to be $60,000 a year. Now, that's off of the 560,000 number. This is assuming 0% returns, which means by age 97, there'll be no money left, but they're still getting the income. The spouse is, no matter who outlives who, or if they die at the same time, that standard of living is going to be met. We're not counting outside accounts. We're not counting Social Security. We're solely looking at that 560 alone. Now, we know we got bigger issues if the market does 0% every single day. So let's look at actual performance. 7 to 15% over the same life expectancy. We're not looking at a set rate of return here. This is where most calculators get in trouble. They run a fixed 7, 9, 10% number. The market doesn't do that every single year. The market fluctuates. It has years of -20, +20, 7, 15, 55. Eliminating the focus in the standard norm and focusing on income yield, so that the outside accounts, Social Security, everything else is icing on the cake. If you want your own plan or strategy, or you want to see what your numbers do, give us a call, shoot us a text, go to our website and just poke us and let us know what you're looking for, and we'll give you your own exact numbers.
Invest in these meme coins unless you have a strategy to get in and get out real quick. Don't sit around when it goes up a little bit with your calculator saying, well, if it goes up to this amount, I'm going to be a multi-trillionaire. Yes. Of course, it's never going to get there, and you're going to lose all your money. So if you've doubled your initial investment, sell half of what you put in, and now you're playing with the bookies money, we call it, because you've got all the money you invested back.
There you go.
Well, a whole lot easier to hold something long-term, Bruce, when it's not really costing you.
One of the big risks in retirement is sequence of returns risk.
Oh, yeah.
Americans do not understand that risk. So kind of, how do you explain it?
Well, basically, the day you retire is a very big day, and it can become a gigantic day if the market starts to go down that day. So now you're starting to take money out of your retirement. This is if you don't have a real plan put in place. A lot of you're trying to manage yourself. You're just going to take money out of the stock market accounts you have, and you're going to, supposedly, you have that 92% chance of being okay. But the market keeps going down. You keep taking money out as it goes down. The beauty of the stock market, if you have the time horizon on your side, is if a stock goes down and you really believe in it, you don't have to liquidate it. You hold it till it comes back up. If all that money in the stock market is money you need for retirement, you're going to have to start liquidating that money because you need it. So that's why we say keep that stock market money alone, build a force field around it with annuities. So have annuities give you the income of retirement and leave your stocks alone. Therefore, the stock market can do its thing. Stock market doesn't go up all the time. Doesn't go down all the time, but over time it goes up if you have that time to leave it alone. Usually people buy high and sell low. That's what happens. But if you're selling low because you have to, because you need that income, you're not in the right place. You don't have a true retirement plan.
Yeah, and what's even worse is the more the market goes down, the more you have to sell.
Yes.
Because your shares are worth less and less, so you got to sell more and more to get that in.
So you're locking in your losses.
And so people who retire into a down market, if they don't have a plan like you're talking about, they're just taking money out of the market, they have a very high risk of totally running out of money.
Yeah.
Versus somebody who retires into a bull market, they can take money out. They have a very high chance of success. It's just we don't know what's going to happen on the day we retire. So I call it good luck or bad luck. And I don't want to subject my retirement to good luck or bad luck. And that's why I have a plan like what you talk about.
That's the Vegas mentality. We don't have time in our retirement accounts to have the Vegas mentality.
Hey, it's Amanda here, back again with my friend, Coach Pete, and I am so excited to see you. We have really dived in 2025, looked at the good, the bad, and the ugly about my finances, and I mean, it was tough, I'm not going to lie, but now that we've gotten it going, I'm ready to start investing some money.
We started, you said, Coach, I want to get my finances back under control or under control for once or whatever you said.
Coach, I'm in debt. I'm in debt. We bought a house. We bought furniture. We bought all the stuff to go in the house. We bought new curtains and glasses and dishware. How am I going to start investing if I'm in debt?
We put a plan together. And what did we do in January?
So in January, we started buying the debt down.
Yep.
And really started
buying
working
the debt
on
down.
Like the smallest ones and really paying those off. And I have thrown like every extra penny that I could possibly throw at it.
You took the highest interest rates. That's what we identified. Those are the big termites, the financial termites, high interest rates. Doesn't matter what the balance is.
Yeah. Well, and I had some furniture and stuff that was 0%. So I said, I'm going to wait, get that last because it's 0%.
Don't wait to the last minute on that, though, because if you don't pay it on time, they're going to go back and charge you interest on from day one. And zonk you and put fees on there. So you need to pay that. And don't wait till like the day before. Make sure you pay that off like 30 days before they say that if you don't pay it, they're going to get you. Okay?
Financial termites.
Yes.
That's why you got to get a copy of his book. And I think for me, the next question is, what do I need to be focused on with, investing? Do I need to get into crypto? I'm trying to maximize Jackson's college savings account and then my Roth IRA. And it's a lot. Like honestly, it's hard for me to manage the day-to-day.
Instead of jumping right into crypto, like getting your own Coinbase account, some of the brokerages like Fidelity and stuff have their own Bitcoin account. So they're investing in Bitcoin for you, so you don't have to go through all that. You just invest in their ETF, it's called, like a mutual fund. And IBIT is one of the ones you get in that you can own crypto without having to go through all that crypto game. IBIT is a symbol. It's doing pretty well since it's come out. So look at that. You shouldn't despair. You've done a good job of paying some of that debt off, getting that high interest rate out of the way. We've already talked today. We had a great conversation because now you realize that if you owe even 1 penny on that zero financing for 36 months, they're going to go back and get you interest for every single dollar they loaned you. And I explained some of this in my book here, the big book on retirement. I go in further detail in the second book I ever wrote. I've written 19 now, but the second book I wrote was the fine print fiasco, what they don't want you to know when you buy, borrow, and invest. And so if you call now, if you're watching this and you want to get a copy of both of these books, we'll send them to you at no cost or obligation. All you have to do is call the number you see on the screen. Or let's give the number out right now.
Yes, 919-794-7900 or text Amanda to 600-700.
Now, let's talk taxes for a minute, because taxes right now are historically low. What should people be doing about their tax situation in retirement?
Just came out with a book this year. It's over 250 pages called Tax Savvy Retirement. And so who cares how much you have if it's going to get killed by the tax man? If you have a big piece of cheese, it turns into Swiss cheese really quick before you would see it. So we need to make sure there's ways that we can isolate some money from the tax man. There's some special tax balancing we could do. If you have a big gain and a loss, we'll sell the loss and sell the gain and come with that, take that money and now you have a tax-free basically. So there are a lot of tax strategies out there that are overlooked, underutilized, and should be used all the time to put people in control of their retirement.
Let's dig a little deeper into that, because Roths play a big role in that. Love the Roth. And cash value life insurance can play a big role. Yeah. Talk about some of the ways that you can get people tax-free income.
Yeah, well, the Roth is a good one, but the problem is the more money you make, the less you can qualify for it. So what I found, I call it Roth times 2, is the life insurance industry. Yeah. And matter of fact, if you haven't had your life insurance policy, if you have one, if you haven't had it analyzed in the last 5 years, you need to, because some of the life insurance companies, matter of fact, the biggest ones, the A-rated ones and above, have come up with something called a living benefit rider on your life insurance accounts. If you have a new policy, you may have that. If you don't, you really need to get it looked at, and you need one, because what this lets you do, Tom, lets you take your death benefit out while you're still here to pay for long-term care. So there's no need for a long-term care policy anymore if you have a life insurance policy. And the beautiful thing about a permanent life insurance policy is once you qualify.
Here we are again, Chapter 5 of the Big Book on Retirement. I'm Thomas Lipscomb here alongside the author himself, Coach Pete D'Arruda. Here we are, developing spending discipline. And I want, each of your chapters here, Coach, you start off with a quote. I wanted to bring this one up. It says, "It's not your salary that makes you rich, it's your spending habits."
Yeah, and this is budgeting.
Yeah, it is.
And I don't like to call it a budget. I like to call it a spending plan. Yeah. So let's write down, how do you figure out how much you're spending now? Well, you can look at your credit cards and your checkbook and see all the stuff added up. Or you can write everything down when you spend. That gets kind of tedious. Keep the receipts, scan them in your computer, that kind of thing. But then you come up with rough estimates about how much it's costing you to enjoy your lifestyle now. This is when you're working. And so that when you retire, we can have a judgment about what you're going to spend in retirement. So if you like to go out to eat on the weekends, you're probably going to start going out to eat more on weekdays when you're retired, because every day's a weekend. So we need to factor that in.
That's good.
And the whole reason why we save and put money, our money gets taken hostage by the 401k or 403bs or TSPs, because you give it, you can't get it back out. It's hostage. So we have a hostage situation. And we reach retirement, it's time to start rescuing those hostages. They start getting free. That's money coming back to you. And then you say, well, gosh, we should have put more hostages away, right? So the more money you can put away now, the more you're going to have later. Yes. But it's just the thing is, we figure out how much it really costs you to enjoy your lifestyle, not just get by.
Yeah.
Anyone can sit home and watch reruns all day long, but
proud of.
Well, mountains didn't get built overnight. It takes, like when you build sandcastles, it took a bunch of buckets of sand to get a big castle. Yeah. But I mean, without that first bucket, you didn't have a chance of the castle. And so the better the foundation, the more secure it was too. Take the same approach in the financial world. Firm foundation, lifetime income, put you in control, minimize or eliminate fees, commissions, expenses, and too much risk. And as we get into retirement, we want to be in control of our money, not our money controlling us. And we help people with that every single day. Approach retirement on your terms. We can help you. Thomas, the numbers are on the screen there. You can see that. Yep. The book will help you get your arms around it, and we can help you put that plan together. No cost or obligation, by the way, if you're seeing this video. Just give us a call. We can meet with you and help you get started to that really good retirement you deserve.
There you go. Yeah, it makes a whole lot of sense, folks. Go ahead and call right now. Don't put yourself in the way of yourself having an absolutely amazing retirement. Whether it's just getting that second opinion, or you really don't know what's going on in your plans, you're just nervous about what's going on in the market either today, yesterday, or 5 years ago.
Well, there's no better time but the present to get it done, right? We can always put things off, but let's get ahead of the curve. Let's do the smart thing. If you do it once, you never have to do it again, too, by the way.
There you go.
Once you get that plan put together, it's autopilot, folks. Let's put you in that retirement autopilot.
I love it. Get that confidence, folks. Call Coach Pete and his fiduciary team. As he said, the number's there on the screen, and we will see you for Chapter 6.
Hey, I'm Coach Pete D'Arruda, president of Capital Financial. Folks, the financial world is very, very confusing. That's why we put together a series of educational videos called webinars. You can see them at any time by signing up at CoachPete.com. We'll see you there.
Everybody's putting their money in 401ks, but long term, that can be a problem.
Well, a lot of them are orphan 401ks. What that means is you work for a company. People don't work for a company 30 or 40 years these days. They work for a company for 4 or 5 days, sometimes, or 4 or 5 years, and then to go to a different company. So they leave their 401ks behind. So we call this splintering or orphaning. So what we've done is we open up a super IRA, and we roll all the different 401ks in there. Now you have them all in one place. And they're a lot better investment options when you have the own personal IRA than the 401ks. 401ks usually give you maybe 10 to 30 different options. Whereas your own super IRA, you can have 5,000 or more different options. So you have a lot more choices. You can even build guaranteed lifetime income into your IRA. That way you can't do that in 401ks.
Absolutely. And you know, another way to play the crypto is you don't have to actually do the coin thing. There's ETFs now where you get full exposure to it without all the hassle of.
That's the best way to do it for the average American who doesn't want to worry about it, because Fidelity has one, BlackRock has one, IBIT is a good one. There's some other good ones. There's even ones for Ripple and Ethereum if you don't want just Bitcoin. There's ones that have a collection, like a basket of them. So check with your financial advisor or do your own research. I think a lot of financial advisors may try to shoot you down again because they are maintaining the hold of your money in their managed accounts, and if you leave them with money, it's going to be less money they can manage, less money they can charge you on.
Well, and less, but I mean, I hope the hedge goes to zero. But if Bitcoin goes to zero, I'll make.
So you're protected on both sides.
On both sides.
That's when once you start winning the game, you win the game, and you're winning Monopoly, right? You have Park Place and Boardwalk right now. You can build all the houses you want.
Right.
I'm back again with my friend Coach Pete. Coach, everybody I know has a side hustle. The biggest thing for me is, why are we not treating the side hustle like our retirement? We need to be throwing money into our retirement. We're working harder to try to make that extra income, and we're just spending all of it. We're not even putting it in our retirement. Why?
If you have a side hustle, like a second job, every single penny of that should go to a place that's going to benefit you and your family in the future. And the best way to do that is to put in what I call a time capsule account, which will grow and not shrink. So it'll grow according to, it'll share with the market, but won't go down when the market goes down.
When the money comes in, you put the money in your retirement account, and then you pay everything else.
Well, what's a retirement account? See, the confusion these days, and it's widely known that a real retirement account is going to give you lifetime income you can't outlive and can't go away. But yet Wall Street tells you they have a retirement account that'll give you this magic return. And you put the money in, and all of a sudden you start losing money, and you have fees, and all of a sudden the money's not there. So have a plan. And the plan needs to be a long-term plan, like your whole life. What do you want to do when you retire? Where do you want to go? How much is it going to cost? Let's put a plan together that will fund that for you so that when you get there, you don't have to ask permission. You know, when we were little, we had to ask permission. When we're older, we shouldn't have to ask permission. But if you don't have money, you're going to have to ask permission.
It's going to be hard.
You're going to have to ask the bank, can I please have some money so I can go on to a vacation? And the bank will say, when are you going to pay it back? You know, so again, it's all about having the plan that's designed ahead of time to put you in charge and in control of your retirement.
Jackson just turned 3. Can you believe that?
Happy birthday.
3. And I feel like it flies by.
It does.
Every single year.
You talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you. And you talked me into, setting up his account, and I did set up his 529.
Yep.
But I need to get back on track with some other things now that, hey, school's back in. Year-round's already back in. Regular calendar's about to go back in. So how do we get back on track? How do we set this up?
Yeah, it's about having a routine, and a positive routine, a routine that will get you in control. It takes about a month to form a good routine. It takes about 1 day to form a bad one. So the good routines are putting money aside for retirement, making sure your money's going to be there, make sure it's growing now, and make sure you can have a lifetime income from your money and know what that income's going to be ahead of time. Now, that sounds like a lot of steps, but we do that for every single one of our clients, and I've done it for the last 33 years.
What do I need to do to have that backup college plan for Jackson?
Yeah, well, my daughter, Carrie, I've had 2 529 plans for her over the years, so a North Carolina one and a Utah one, and she's using the Utah one. She's going to University of Alabama, and that's not a cheap place, so lucky for her daddy put some money aside. But there's more to life than the 529 plan. You could put money in your 401k plan and then borrow against it to fund your college education for your child if you wanted to.
Ooh.
I don't really recommend that. I think you're better off doing the 529.